The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
So hello, this is going to be part two of the webinars, kind of the nutrition side of the webinars. This one covering the common fat loss mistakes that people make, and most importantly, how to fix them. Right, so overview of tonight, we're going to go over a few of the things that stop people losing weight, in our opinion, as well as good alternatives and ways to fix it and go around it, and maybe avoid putting yourself in certain positions that could stop yourself losing weight, or toning up. Right, so the first point, biggest one, is over restriction. It's so common, so we'll go over that. One that people often do but don't really realise it, they choose fatty foods over carbs. So you'll probably come across it quite a lot when certain diets will almost tell you to stop eating carbs, but replace it with things like lots of nuts, lots of avocados, lots of oils, healthy fats, right? So we'll cover all that. Be going over healthy diets. What is a healthy diet? Can it actually, is there a difference between healthy and losing weight, or are they the same thing? So we'll be going over that. We're going over sort of healthy, high calorie foods that you maybe wouldn't expect to have so many calories in them. Things that you use day to day, thinking that's a better choice for you. And finally, the biggest one that we've come across is alcohol. Going out in the beef, as they say, can majorly assist you in putting a lot of weight on without really knowing it. So even if you eat really well through the week, a weekend's binge can ruin everything. But we'll go over that. Right, so over restriction. When we kind of go on diets that are really restricted, what usually happens is we end up binging, right? So good sort of way to go across it. If I told you, do not think of a pink elephant and left you in a room for 5 minutes, you'd probably start thinking about pink elephants. We're a pretty messed up species, and where we're told not to do something and we immediately start trying to do it. So same with diet. If we were told can't eat chocolate, you can't eat this, can't have that, yeah, you might be able to stick it for a couple of weeks, but those couple of weeks you're constantly thinking about the things that you cannot have, which is inevitably going to lead to a massive binge down the line, which I've yet to see somebody not do. Even the people that say they don't do it still do it to some extent, maybe through things like cheat meals. This will kind of brings us on to eating clean. People that traditionally eat clean, lots of lean meats, plain veg, not much else other than the sort of chicken and broccoli based diet, more or less. What you'll tend to find is a lot of them have cheat meals, right? So they're putting themselves through, in my opinion, a wee bit of hell. Eating really bland foods, unenjoyable foods, chicken, rice, broccoli every day. That's not exactly an ideal meal. And what tends to happen is they'll build up these almost fantasies of cheat meals through the week, and when they do get to them, all they do is feel guilty after eating it, which then in turn leads them back on eating clean, dreaming about the right foods, and you see where it goes. Cheat meals turn into cheat days, and the cheat days just turn into giving up on achieving a sort of healthy, balanced lifestyle. So when you're going through over restrictive, like really restrictive diets, it's you're choosing to take a really unenjoyable route, and in most cases it does develop a really bad relationship with food. You start thinking of foods as good or bad, rather than just food, and managing and educating yourself on calories and how they work, and really sort of familiarising yourself. So like on how to fix it, right? Now this is something that, yeah, the fitness industry's kind of taking a complete turn. There's the people that say you either do it or don't. Then you get the people who say eat it in moderation. Neither kind of help, right? Something that I've came to realise recently is people need rules, right? People need rules to follow. And if you were to just go out and go, you can eat whatever you want, All food's good. That's not really helping anyone. It's not really educating. It's not. You still don't understand anything. You're just going to go, oh really? I'm going to go and munch some chocolate for my dinner. It's good. So it doesn't really work like that. In our view, best way to fix sort of staying away from over restrictive diets and getting dragged into quick fixes is education, understanding how calories work, understanding protein, carbs, and fats, understanding their roles in the diet, what kind of foods they're found in, and most importantly, how much and how big portions you should be eating. So it really comes down to almost re-education. Even things like being able to understand how to read a food label well and understand it and take it on board and apply it to a meal. That goes a long way to understanding your total intake. And most importantly, to kind of fix and get away from over restriction is to enjoy foods. Like, have foods in your diet that you enjoy, because then you're not going to have this sort of cheat meal, cheat day mentality, which a lot of people seem to have, and build up these ideas of food in their head, as almost putting like sort of the food porn style things. A lot of people kind of fall into that trap. And then all they find themselves doing is talking about food all the time, and it becomes really, really, really tiring, especially to people around them having to listen to them. I mean, I was doing that last year, to be fair, so apologies if I was doing that to you. Right, next slide. Fats versus carbs. So this is a wee bit. Loads of people tend to go towards fattier foods without really knowing it, and when they go out thinking that they're eating healthy. There's a big tendency of healthy carbs, but healthy fats, they're one of these things that it's almost a marketing gimmick to an extent. Like, it's almost as if people are going back to the sort of setting rules. I seen a great post from a guy, Jamie Alden, on Facebook the other day, and it all comes down to the next big fad, the next magic pill almost. Like, he was talking about certain diets and how they use one ingredient to justify putting somebody in a calorie deficit. So, for example, the apple cider diet was one of them he was talking about. So before every meal, you would have a glass of apple cider, not like an actual like Strongbow or something like that, like the American style, like hot apple cider, almost like apple juice before every meal. However, the rule is you're only allowed to eat 1,500 calories, right? So for, I would say, about 90% of the UK population, 80 to 90%, that's them in a calorie deficit. Whereas people are going to do that. They're going to stick to the healthy diet, eating sort of higher fat meals, whatever it is. They're going to feel pretty miserable, but they're going to think they're going to be getting results right through it because they're in a calorie deficit, and they're going to think it's that apple cider that's making them lose weight, whereas it's not. And it's the same with fats in diets. It's the exact same. Like, Joe Wicks just now, he's promoting a pretty high fat diet, in my opinion. Again, it says only have carbs after you train, which is not right at all. To be fair, some people like doing that, some people don't. So I wouldn't 100% put it down to that. He's very pro healthy fats. Uses a lot of avocados, uses a lot of oils, coconut oil specifically, by a company that I'm pretty sure pays them money to say their name all the time. So again, you can see bias starting to creep in already to certain diets. As well, with everything that sort of in the past few years, fats kind of came out as being a good guy. Healthy fats, have healthy fats, omega-3s, fish oils, eat lots of fish. It's all started creeping out in magazines and everyone's kind of pushing it on people. And then obviously carbs are being demonised, so it's going the complete opposite way of like the 90s when it was promoting higher carbs and saying fats give you heart disease. So it's all kind of up in the air. Nobody really knows what to think, right? But this is it, plain and simple. It's all just energy. Like everything just gets broken down into calories for your body to use. In terms of healthy fats and bad fats, your body doesn't know it's just fat. It just breaks it down and uses it as energy. Obviously, last week's webinar kind of covered the roles of fats and what to do and how they work and stuff like that. So, in terms of healthy fats and bad fats, there's not really, unless you're talking about completely manufactured fats like trans fats and hydrogenated fats. They're not the best. But again, the odd bit here and there is not going to kill you. Right. So anyway, the reason fats can lead to almost stopping you getting fat loss results, ironically, is they've got double the amount of energy, as we covered last week, per gram than carbs do. They're not as filling as carbs. You can almost get double the volume, double the amount of carbs than you can for fats. So in terms of feeling full, which is what you're wanting to do for the most part when you're losing weight, is try and combat cravings for food by feeling full, because when you're full you tend not to snack, you tend not to want to eat anything because you don't really want it, you're not thinking about it. But that's not to say they're not an important part of the diet, and as we covered last week, there's many reasons you should be having them. However, because they're not got as much volume in the types of foods that they're in, they're very, very easily overconsumed, which then leads to a lot more calories being consumed through the day, through the week, and then in turn weight gain. Right, so it's a wee diagram. So per gram, there's 9 calories, right? You can get more than double the volume of carbs. So it's going to help fill you up a lot more. And to put that into context, here's a real life comparison, right? So you've got one avocado, 200 grams is the average weight of an avocado, right? Which comes in at 322 calories. Compare that to white potatoes. So you could have 200 grams of white potatoes and save yourself almost half the amount of calories, just under. Or you could have double the amount of potatoes, whatever way you want to look at it. So the potatoes are obviously going to fill you up a lot more for the calories. They're going to be a lot more effective at filling you up, calorie compared in terms of an avocado to its calorie equivalent, which would be 400 grams of potatoes. That's going to fill you up a lot more, right? Who's that that's just came on? Somebody's just logged on. That was James, the Jazz. James, I was just kind of going over the first few slides there a wee bit in. So see if nothing's really making sense, mate. Just pop a wee question in the question box, and I'll get to it at the end, right? Right. So a healthy diet means fat loss, right? It doesn't. As we were saying earlier on, the fats play a big part in your typical healthy diet, or what people think of a healthy diet. Lots of healthy fats, things like avocados, things like lots of oils when you're cooking. Coconut oil seems to be a massive thing just now, but again, it's just excess calories that you probably don't need. So it's about keeping this idea of calories really relevant in the diet. It's the most important thing. That is the principle of weight loss. You can't get past that. That's the rule. There's nothing to. If there was adequate scientific research to say that a calorie deficit doesn't make you lose weight, then fair play, I'd change my opinion straight away, or be willing to open to. But to date, there's nothing proven otherwise. So in terms of healthy diet, lots and lots of healthy fats mean excess calories. So 2 seconds, I can't really see the slides because there's a stupid box hanging over it. There we go. Right. So as well, in terms of feeling full on your typical healthy diet, they often lead to fat being overconsumed. That's the kind of trend in your healthy diet, especially with things like Joe Wicks and stuff just now. That seems to be a really big one. Your typical person's healthy diet is usually very, very low in protein, which then makes them feel a lot hungrier, a lot more tired, and then leads them to the weekend where they go and binge and fall off track and eat even more calories and gain weight and wonder why nothing's changed. So it's all just a big domino effect. So your typical average healthy diet of what I've heard in the past is breakfast you would maybe have like a sachet of porridge, you would maybe have a toast and a poached egg, something along those lines. It's a pretty decent breakfast, solid. It's a solid foundation, right? Gets to lunch, you'd maybe have soup. That seems to be people's soup and a couple of pieces of fruit for a snack after it. And then dinner, just meat and 2 veg, right? So if you look at your total protein intake, if you're having eggs, you're not talking anywhere near enough protein day to day. So you're going to feel hungry, you're going to want a snack, and it's going to creep up on you, and that's what's going to happen. So that's usually one of the biggest mistakes, is people tend to follow the typical thought of healthy diet instead of just asking for help and looking at the right place and then going over and re-educating themselves and looking for people to help them with it. So the average healthy diet doesn't mean feeling hungry all the time, but that one I've just outlined, you're not going to feel full. You're always going to hit that 3 p.m, 4 p.m dip where it's really, really easy and really tempting to reach for a chocolate bar or reach for a really quick, easy snack that you don't need to cook or put any effort in. And over time, that, say, 150 calorie, 200 calorie chocolate bar over the week, times it by 5 days for the working day, you're talking almost an excess 1,000 calories just popped out the blue just to kind of kill your cravings. Whereas if you prepared a good meal, like that had a balance of fat, carbs and protein, be feeling a lot fuller and you wouldn't reach for that. So again, people who are looking to change their diet, 9 out of 10 times, it's very easy for them to get dragged into the next big thing. That's why Joe Wicks is doing so well just now. He is the sort of next big thing. He's very up and coming. His marketing is very, very good. Is the type of stuff he's promoting terrible? No, it's not terrible. But could it be better? It could be a lot better. And in terms of education, it's pretty low. He just tells you what to do. He doesn't teach you about things. Which again, as we covered right at the start, re-education is probably the biggest thing that's needed when it comes to fat loss mistakes, because everyone's opinion on things is that mixed up that it just ends up in a big ball of confusion. So that's kind of the whole purpose for these webinars as well. Oh, just sliding the slides about. Right, so common health foods that contain mega calories, right? So there's a few examples here. We've got, everyone kind of looks at this company Naked as a company that provides healthy snacks that resemble chocolate, right? But if you've ever seen the bar, it's tiny. There's not much volume in it. They do a high protein one. It's not got much protein in it, so it's a wee. They say it's got 18% protein, but the bar only weighs next to nothing, so it's 18% and next to nothing of the protein that's in there, which is literally next to nothing. They're made of primarily higher fat foods, so things like they've got a very nutty base. I think they've made quite a lot of like out of dates and stuff like that as well. I mean, fair play, if you like them, go for it. But is there other options you could probably have? You could get away with having a couple of squares of chocolate instead and having something you actually liked. So like per bar is 145 calories. That is more or less, and you're probably talking a couple of Freddos that you could have instead. Now, is the Naked bar going to curb your cravings as much? It might if you're just wanting something sweet. Is it a more nutritious option than chocolate? Of course it is. It's made out of whole foods. It's got lots more vitamins in it. It's got more nutritionally dense food in its making. However, if you're just chucking them down and not really enjoying them, what you'll find is the binges will still happen. Like, you'll still reach for chocolate because it's not really killed that craving, right? So that's where some people would go, why don't you have a square of dark chocolate? Why don't you just have dark chocolate? Definitely don't touch milk chocolate though. That's really high in sugar. here's a direct comparison. Same brand, same line of chocolate bars, same weight, right? So as you can see, the 90% dark chocolate is 13 calories higher. So I think 40 grams comes in at 4 squares of the chocolate. So it's enough that you could work it into your diet. You could have like 2 squares. That's going to kill a chocolate craving and give you something sweet. But in terms of only having dark chocolate, it's maybe not necessary. You could get away with just having normal milk chocolate if you enjoy that more. So again, it comes across as a mega like sort of preference side of things as well. Like yes, some of these foods have got a lot of calories in them, and there's more in the next slide. So nuts are always a go-to health food. A health food that everybody goes, it's really good for you. It's a good snack. But the thing they don't take into consideration is that good snack has a lot of calories in it. Like I've had clients in the past going, I'm eating really well. Like I only have nuts as snacks. I only have this, but the volume of nuts they were having like more than doubled what you were eating in chocolate. So the total amount of calories shot up, and they were wondering why they were actually putting weight on and not taking it off. So that's the kind of important side that we get you guys doing food diaries and constantly kind of checking up and asking you to do it every day, so you don't forget wee things like that as well. So like for example, macadamia nuts, they're not huge, but 20 of those nuts, somebody could easily walk through them in 5 minutes. That's 200 calories, and they think it's healthy. Usually when a food's associated with being healthy, it's people just neglect the calories in it. They just kind of forget about them and go, but it's healthy, so the calories shouldn't matter because it's good for me. Just because something's good for you doesn't mean you can overconsume it, because the same thing's going to happen. Still got calories in it. Another one seen in the shop shelves the other day, an innocent antioxidant smoothie. Another company like Naked that sort of promote health and say we're only made from good quality ingredients, and that might be the case. However, people are going to be drinking this thinking this is going to help me lose weight, just because it's associated with being healthy, and how the common theme around having antioxidants helps you lose weight, stuff like that, right? Still get 211 calories in it. You'd be better picking up a can of Diet Iron Brew and saving those calories towards a couple of bits of chocolate later in the night. So that's going to do you a lot more in terms of killing cravings and going towards the binging side of things. Last one. This is just a wee dig at Joe Wicks, to be fair. Not that he cares because he's got lots of money, but this is how quickly somebody can turn. Obviously, like the Lucy B coconut oil is the stuff he uses and promotes in every video he does. He cooks with it. You're probably talking. To be fair, I've seen some horrendous spoonfuls, and the sad thing is there's a lot of people in and around Glasgow right now that use his recipes. But unfortunately, I'm probably going to get nowhere because they're choosing the recipes that have got lots of fat in them. There is options, of course. There's options that have got lower calories in them, but every one that I've seen has this base of coconut oil. 20 grams is maybe a small tablespoon scooped out, and that's 180 calories. Do you know what I mean? That's just for cooking. That's not even something that it's going to go towards you feeling full. It's oil on your food. It doesn't help you feel full. It just adds calories into it. Right? And I seen in a video that he said you'll go through a jar of this a week, right? So that's a 500 ml tub of coconut oil. That's 4,495 calories in a tub, and he's saying that you'll go through it in a week. So that's the kind of misinformation on a healthy diet that's out there. Is coconut oil is it worth the calories and the calorie intake? No, in my opinion, there's better ways to go around it. In terms of taking fats on, you could use those calories and just have fish or something as well. You're going to get more protein in that way, and it's going to help you feel a lot fuller. The fats are actually going towards you feeling full, which is going to stop you binging and thinking about food. So that's a major thing that people do go wrong when they're kind of wanting to lose fat is they listen to people and just jump in without doing any background research or having any sort of idea of calories or understanding of calories, because that's what it all does come down to. And if you don't have an understanding of that, and some guy comes across as if, yeah, he knows what he's talking about, he's in good shape, he must know what he's doing. But that's the world we live in. So that's how easy it can be to get excess calories in just the oil you cook with. And the last one, Bevy. Bevy's probably the biggest detriment to people's diet. Not that I'm saying never do it, but most people take the piss a wee bit when they're trying to lose weight. We get it all the time, and especially when people leave it out their food diaries, it can be quite frustrating on our part, because obviously we are looking at all the food and intake and all the energy intake and going, how's she not losing weight, whereas you've been out on a 2-day bender, like Friday, Saturday, do you know what I mean? So basically the thing with alcohol is, like, obviously we're talking with fat having 9 calories per gram and carbs having 4 calories per gram. Alcohol has 7, so it sits in the middle, right? But here's the thing, they're completely empty calories in alcohol. There's no nutrition in it. They're just sitting there. That's just there's no benefit to having them in your diet. So in terms of a fat loss diet, having alcohol will be detrimental. Can you still drink? Yeah, of course you can. However, if you drink on top of the amount of daily calories you're meant to be intaking through food, then you're going to put weight on. However, if you are clever enough and can work in alcohol to your total daily allowance, you shouldn't notice that much of a difference. You'll just be a lot hungrier because you substituted empty calories for nutritious calories for calories that have got no nutrition and no sort of digestive qualities, I could say, if that makes sense. Basically, they don't fill you up at all. But again, here's something that's I hope is going ahead. I read the other day, like, they don't have food labels on them, like wine bottles. You can't find out how many calories in a bottle of wine. It's very hidden. It's almost as if people are just meant to know, right? There's no printed calorie content on the packaging of booze, which again, that's one of the mistakes that people aren't aware on, the calorie content of what they're drinking the weekends. So it just turns into this, I'll have a couple of bottles of wine over the weekend. That works out at, so you're talking just shy of, I think it's about 1,500-1,600 calories, around about there. So that's a lot of calories to be taken on over and above what you're meant to be eating, and that's something that we do see a lot. We do see a lot of people that just are shocked by the amount of calories they're intaking through alcohol. But again, it does come back to the sort of re-education side of things, people learning about what they should be doing and how calories work. So basically, in my opinion, if your sole goal is to lose fat and it's the most important thing to you, then calories from alcohol are completely wasted. It's a waste of time, it's a waste of energy, it's a waste of money if your goal is solely to lose fat. If I don't know, that again, that is based on your goal of losing fat is the most important thing to you. If you see your social life as a lot more important than the weight loss goal, then there's ways that you can go around still having a bit of a social life, but you'll just feel a wee bit hungry. You won't maybe lose as much weight if you go around it that way, but there's other ways to go around it. But that is sort of opinion in terms of fat loss. They're completely wasted, and that is probably, if not it's the biggest mistake people make is alcohol, especially in the UK's drinking culture. Right, so that is the end of the slides. James, if you're still here, have you got any questions about it, mate? There should be a wee box you can just type in. if you've got any questions. If not, just say no, so I know. I'll take that as a no. What I'll do, James, I'll unmute your mic, right? You should just be able to talk and I can hear you. James. Nope, he's not talking. Anyway, I'll end it there, guys. If you have any questions about anything, put it in the comment section, and if we don't get to them before the next webinar, we'll start off with a wee sort of question covering bit at the start. Tomorrow we'll be doing a live food diary sort of critique. Go picking somebody's food diary. It might turn out to be Saturday morning or something that gets done. Usually it will be a Friday night. Basically, we'll just pick somebody's food diary that's either done very well or has notable room for improvement, but we think the improvements will benefit other people. It'll be 100% anonymous, so we won't really name names. Or if we do, we'll check with them first. But yeah, any questions at all, guys, just put them in the wee comment section and we'll get them answered at the start of the next webinar. Alright, bye.